This morning, as fans around the world honor Jimmy Buffett, his family revealing more about his private cancer battle. The beloved singer, known for embracing a carefree lifestyle, passed away at the age of 76 after a 4-year fight with the rare form of skin cancer, Merkel. His sister Lori now telling People that the two shared a cancer battle after she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer around the same time. Lori, who is now cancer-free, saying, "We shared a club that nobody wants to join. I am thunderstruck that Jimmy didn't make it." Lori posting on Instagram that soon before her brother's death, "I told him I've known him longer than anyone on the planet. He smiled with those twinkling blue eyes and squeezed my hand." Also telling People that Buffett had to cancel shows because of his illness, but wanted to keep performing, and that love of music carrying him to the end. His final performance, a surprise for fans at Mike McFarland's Rhode Island restaurant 2 months ago.
I was in awe. You can't make that up.
The moment capping off a 50-year music legacy and empire.
Wasted away again in Margaritaville.
For his devoted fans, the Margaritaville philosophy was really a state of mind. Buffett turned that tropical island lifestyle into a billion-dollar brand.
It pays off if you just keep going ahead. It's just steady journeyman work when it comes down to it.
He rose to success by connecting with his audience, getting a start in New Orleans, and never taking himself or his performances too seriously.
I made $150 a week and half price on drinks. And the first week, I owed them money.
Buffett ultimately finding success after settling in Key West. Buffett shared his talents with us here at Today more than a dozen times, forming a special connection with Al.
We're still thinking about Jimmy Buffett, and we're still thinking about all those he transported to magical places.
Magic that will live on for years to come in his song and spirit.
Only time will tell.
NBC's Emily Aketa with that report. And joining us now, Sirius XM radio host Mark Goodman and music journalist Holly Gleason. She's written for Rolling Stone magazine and is a senior contributing editor with Polestar. She wrote an essay reflecting on Buffett's death entitled "Beyond the Coral Reefer. Jimmy Buffett Finds That One Particular Harbor." And for us, it was shocking. He was a good friend, and you often were in contact with him. He visited us last October and gave Joe a guitar, and his sunglasses are still in the elevator shaft of our building.
Somewhere,
he dropped his glasses.
Somewhere in there, but Mark, that's a funny thing. You look at that NBC package, and they're talking about a carefree lifestyle. Jimmy, when he came in to visit us in Florida, flip-flops, shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So,
T-shirt.
he is who he is, and he was so laid back and so taken by it all. But the funny thing is, what we find out is what we really all sort of should have known. This guy worked around the clock. He created $1 billion empire, and you even hear him talking about it. He's humble about it because steady as they go, even a journeyman can. Now, that guy was next level songwriter, if you ask Bob Dylan, and next level businessman, if you ask Warren Buffett.
Right. Well, the guy did something, I think, pretty amazing while being absolutely against selling out. He has managed to walk a line. He created a genre, Gulf and Western. He created an entire lifestyle, branded it, and sold it. And still walked away with credibility. How did he do that?
Well, let's talk about the music side of it, because you mentioned guys like Kenny Chesney and Zach Brown. They just say openly, we're kind of doing what he did. Right. Basically a little bit different, maybe a little more country to what they do. What did he mean to music? Because it's easy to say, oh, Cheeseburger in Paradise, Margaritaville. There's just fun beach songs, but there's a lot there. There's a lot more there.
It took a while for us to realize how much was, in fact, there. I was in rock radio in the mid-'70s when Cheeseburger came out, and we were sort of like, oh yeah, that's that guy over there. He's an AM guy. Right. But over the years, we have developed this incredible respect for him. When he passed, the first thing I thought of was a song about the death of an unpopular poet. which was on his last studio album. And he talks about how that works, how as a poet, he's able to, walk that line, be literate and yet pay the band,
Yeah. Holly, in a conversation I had with him in the past year or so, he talked about being on the back nine of life. He said, Joe, we're on the back nine of life. We gotta make every swing count. And you think about the fact that he just kept going to the end. Paul McCartney had such moving words, talking about recording with him recently as he just kept writing songs. And like people like Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan saying he was his favorite songwriter. I mean, this is a guy who was, loved talking about being laid back, but, rock gods loved him.
Everybody loved him. I mean, his gift was he not only made life poetry, but he made everybody laugh. You couldn't not feel joy. And so when he would slide in He Went to Paris or They Don't Dance Like Carmen No More, those songs that evoke something that we've lost, but we don't forget, I think that's what Dylan especially responded to.
Yeah, he comes from, he and I come from, we call it the Redneck Riviera. And, he hung out with people like Kenny Stabler, and, they were a legend at Floribama and around that area. But you look at Kenny Stabler, he was like supposedly party guy, crazy guy. He won a Super Bowl. You look at Jimmy Buffett, the same thing. They made it look easy, but there was nothing easy about it, was there?
No, he was very high on the prize. And I think that's that era of Key West that he came out of. They partied hard, but they worked hard. And every day they were going to write a better bit of work, whether it was a novel they were working on or an article, or in the case of Guy de la Valdine, the Tarpon movie. That was groundbreaking in the 70s when they made it. It's legendary now. And there was a documentary screened at Telluride over the weekend that I believe he died 12 hours before they screened it, about the making of that movie and who those men were.
Mark, we were just talking about the tribute that Paul McCartney paid to him, really lavishing praise as a man, but also professionally, and saying this guy was a great songwriter, and also didn't realize they had just finished a single together, Paul McCartney and Jimmy Buffett, titled My Gummy Just Kicked In.
And as good as that is, it gets even better. Why? It was inspired by Paul McCartney's wife. They were together at an event. There was about 20 people at a dinner table, and Nancy kind of stumbled when she was going to sit down, and Jimmy said, "Oh, are you okay?" And she turned back and said, "Oh, yeah, it's okay. My gummy just kicked in."
That's how you write a song.
And there's a song.
Thank you, Nancy, for the inspiration, right?
I love it.
Oh, my
Sirius
God.
XM radio host Mark Goodman and Polestar senior contributing editor Holly Gleason. Thank you both very much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, and another song that they wrote called Bubbles Up.
Bubbles
which
Up.
is fun. And we made it as Broadway musical.
Oh my gosh, you got up on stage
That was a lot
and
of fun.
played.
It's very, very nice.
It was so fun.
Very gracious. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being with us today. That does it for us. And
So
Cabrera
cool.
picks up the coverage right now.